In this video, we're going to transform this rusty motorcycle into a brand new one. You'll be amazed by how incredible it looks. But that's not all. We'll also tackle every problem that comes our way today. So make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the awesome stuff happening here. Let's go! Old motorcycles don't just get restored, they get reborn. Each one carries a story written in oil stains, scratches, and rusted bolts. Repairing a classic motorcycle isn't just a mechanical task. It's a journey of patience, precision, and passion. The process demands not only a solid grasp of mechanics, but also a deep respect for history. And of course, a few specialized tools that feel almost like surgical instruments in the hands of a craftsman. For the team behind Live with Creativity, restoration isn't merely about returning machines to their former glory. It's about breathing life into what others might see as scrap. Their workshop is a place where forgotten relics of the past find new purpose. Over the years, their channel has become a sanctuary for creativity, a space where impossible repairs turn into living art. Every video carries the same message. True satisfaction comes from creating something beautiful out of ruin. But this time, the challenge feels different. The motorcycle in front of them isn't just old, it's on the edge of extinction. Layers of rust cover the frame, like scars from a lifetime of neglect. The fuel tank is pitted and eaten through. The exhaust corroded beyond easy repair. Even the bolts refuse to turn, locked tight by years of exposure to rain, dust, and time itself. Rust, the silent enemy of every restorer, has found its way into nearly every part of the bike. It's not just an aesthetic problem, it's a structural one. Each flake of oxidation represents weakness, each reddish-brown patch a small victory of decay over craftsmanship. If ignored, rust can turn a proud machine into fragile metal dust. Understanding the damage means understanding the bike's story. Where it's been, how it was treated, and what kind of life it once had. And so, before the real restoration even begins, the builder takes a deep breath, runs a hand over the rough surface of the tank, and imagines the day this machine first roared to life. This isn't just a repair, it's a resurrection. Rust on its own might seem harmless, just a reddish stain on metal. But when it creeps into the vital organs of a motorcycle, the frame, the swing arm, the suspension, it becomes a silent assassin. These components are the bones and muscles of the machine. Once weakened, they can betray the rider in the worst possible moment. A sudden crack, a failed joint, or a fractured frame isn't just costly, it's dangerous. In the world of restoration, safety always comes before beauty. The team at Live with Creativity knows this better than anyone. To them, every bolt, every weld, and every panel carries responsibility. Their goal is not only to make the motorcycle shine again, but to ensure that it rides as strong and safe as the day it first left the factory floor. Each restoration is a conversation with history, an unspoken promise to protect the craftsmanship and engineering spirit of the past. This particular project, the restoration of a Honda CD70, is more than just another rebuild. For millions, especially in places like Pakistan and across Asia, the CD70 isn't just transportation, it's a cultural icon. A symbol of reliability, simplicity, and everyday endurance. Families have passed it down through generations. Students have used it to get to school, workers to reach their jobs, and dreamers to chase their goals. It's not just a machine, it's a companion of daily life. Beneath its modest design lies a 4-stroke single-cylinder engine, roughly 72 cc of honest, hard-working power. Air-cooled, efficient, and almost unbreakable. This little engine has earned a reputation for running tirelessly, even after decades of service. It's frugal on fuel, gentle on maintenance, and famously low in emissions. Since its first appearance in the 1980s, the Honda CD70 has remained a quiet champion of practicality and endurance. Restoring such a motorcycle means more than repairing metal. It means preserving a piece of history, an era when motorcycles were built to last, when design met purpose, and when every ride told a story. For Live with Creativity, breathing new life into the CD70 is like turning back the hands of time. One polished bolt, one restored part at a time. The Honda CD70 carries with it a design philosophy that has stood the test of time. Its look, simple, elegant, and unpretentious, has remained almost unchanged through the decades. The lines are clean, the structure minimal, and every curve feels purposeful. There's a quiet charm in its restraint, a kind of honesty that modern motorcycles with their aggressive styling and digital screens often lack. The CD70 doesn't try to impress, it simply is. A living echo of an age when motorcycles were built for pure function and everyday use. For many, just looking at one evokes a rush of nostalgia. Memories of early morning rides to work, long road trips through dusty lanes, or the first time their father taught them to balance on two wheels, all come flooding back at the sight of that unmistakable silhouette. The CD70 is more than a vehicle. It's a symbol of a simpler time, when riding was not about speed or technology, but about freedom, independence, and connection. That's why restoring such a motorcycle carries emotional weight. When done with care, a restoration doesn't just restore value, it restores meaning. For collectors and enthusiasts, a well-restored CD70 can become a prized possession, a bridge between generations, or even a sound financial investment. The market recognizes authenticity and craftsmanship, and few things reflect those better than a classic bike reborn through skilled hands. One of the hallmarks of this machine is its manual transmission system, typically a 4-gear setup. It's a direct link to the classic riding experience, mechanical, tactile, and deeply satisfying. Unlike the automatic transmissions that dominate modern commuter bikes, this manual gearbox demands attention and finesse. Each shift is a dialogue between rider and machine, a rhythmic exchange that connects human instinct to mechanical precision. For seasoned riders, that simplicity is pure joy. And for beginners, it's the perfect teacher, offering a gradual, intuitive way to learn how to control the bike, feel its power, and respect its rhythm. The CD70's transmission embodies the old-school principle of less is more. No complex electronics, no unnecessary frills. Just honest mechanics and a genuine connection between man and machine. In a world that's rushing toward automation, the CD70 stands proudly as a reminder that simplicity has its own kind of beauty. And sometimes the truest form of progress is preserving what once worked perfectly. For enthusiasts and classic motorcycle restorers, especially the creative minds that live with creativity, the Honda CD70's manual transmission isn't just a mechanical feature. It's a symbol of enduring simplicity. Its straightforward design makes it a dream to maintain, and an open canvas for those who love to modify and personalize their machines. Whether it's tuning for smoother shifting or experimenting with vintage-style parts, the CD70's gearbox offers the kind of accessibility that modern motorcycles often hide behind layers of electronics. Yet, it's the engine that truly gives this motorcycle its heartbeat. This small, air-cooled, single-cylinder unit defines the CD70's identity: rugged, minimal, and stubbornly reliable. Its design harkens back to the golden age of motorcycles in the mid-20th century, when engines were raw and open, and every sound or vibration told a story. Air cooling, a once universal system, adds to that nostalgic charm. The way air rushes through the fins, keeping the motor alive, connects rider and machine in a beautifully direct way. It's the kind of engineering that doesn't overcomplicate. It simply works. That's why restorers respect it so deeply. They don't just rebuild engines like this, they revive them, preserving the soul of a machine that has powered millions of journeys over the decades. But before an engine can breathe again, the metal that houses it must be cleansed of its slow decay. Rust removal is one of the most critical and delicate steps in the restoration process. It begins with patience and precision. Wire brushes and coarse sandpaper scrape away the loose rust and flaking paint, each stroke revealing glimpses of the clean metal beneath. The smell of old iron mixes with the dust of corrosion as time itself seems to peel away. Once the surface is bare, a rust remover is applied, a chemical ally that dissolves what remains of the corrosion. Depending on how deeply the rust has bitten, the treatment might take hours or days. Afterward, the metal is carefully sanded again, this time with finer and finer grits of sandpaper, until it feels smooth to the touch. Finally, a rust inhibitor is brushed on, a transparent shield that creates an invisible barrier between the metal and the air. It's a small but crucial step, a promise that the machine will have a second chance at life. To the untrained eye, it's just a process of cleaning and coating. But to the restorers that live with creativity, it's the start of resurrection. The moment when decay stops winning and rebirth quietly begins. Once the metal is treated and protected, attention shifts to the smaller details. The parts often overlooked but just as vital, the rubber components. Gaskets, seals, and tires form the soft barriers that keep moisture and air where they belong. Cleaning and conditioning them isn't simply maintenance, it's preservation. A well-kept seal can mean the difference between a perfectly tuned engine and one slowly corroding from within. Every gasket is carefully inspected, each tire cleaned and checked for cracks or dryness. When rubber is treated properly, it guards the metal beneath, keeping out the invisible enemies of rust and time. Then comes the painting process, a stage that blends art with precision. It begins with the base coat, sprayed in thin, deliberate layers, each allowed to dry fully before the next is applied. Patience is key here. Rushing risks imperfections. Layer by layer, color begins to emerge, smooth even, and rich, giving the motorcycle its new skin. Once the base has cured, a clear coat is added. This final layer seals the paint, giving it not only a deep, glossy finish, but also protection from sun, rain, and road wear. The workshop fills with the subtle scent of paint and the soft hum of tools. Under the lights, the restored parts gleam, a reflection of effort and skill. Every detail feels deliberate, every movement practiced. Live with Creativity have done this countless times before, and their experience shows in every result. Their videos capture this process not as routine work, but as a form of craftsmanship, where machines are treated like living art. Still, no restoration is without difficult choices. Sometimes the best decision isn't to repair, but to replace. Certain parts, once too far gone or unsafe, simply must be renewed. Yet, Live with Creativity always aims to preserve as many original components as possible. To them, originality is part of the motorcycle's identity, its soul. Every nut, bolt, or worn badge tells a piece of its story. As long as a component doesn't compromise safety, it stays. That authenticity is what transforms a rebuild into a true restoration. Beneath the restored frame lies the heart of the CD70, its engine, a marvel of simplicity and endurance. It runs on a 4-stroke combustion cycle, famed for its efficiency and durability. Unlike the smoky, fast-burning 2-stroke engines found in some older classics, the 4-stroke breathes steadily, cleanly, and reliably. It's quieter, more refined, and built to last. The kind of engineering that rewards care with decades of service. To hear one of these engines roar again after years of silence isn't just a technical achievement. It's a moment of triumph. A heartbeat returning, a piece of history awakening beneath the hands of those who refuse to let it fade. One of the Honda CD70's greatest strengths lies in its uncomplicated design. A structure so straightforward that even novice riders can learn to care for it themselves. Oil changes, spark plug replacements, or chain adjustments can all be done in a modest garage or under the shade of a tree. It's a motorcycle that doesn't intimidate its owner, it invites them in. For those who value hands-on involvement, this simplicity is part of its timeless charm. Watching Live with Creativity at work, it becomes clear that true restoration isn't only about skill or talent. It's also about respecting the durability of what was built to last. Honda's engineering has always been known for reliability. Engines that endure rough roads, harsh climates, and years of neglect, yet still respond with a spark of life once cared for properly. The CD70's power plant is a perfect example of that philosophy. Humble, resilient, and efficient. But beyond the nuts and bolts, the CD70 holds a much deeper story. One that extends far beyond workshops and restoration videos. In many regions where it's most popular, this small motorcycle carries cultural and economic weight. It's more than a vehicle. It's a lifeline. For countless families, the CD70 is the bridge between distant villages and bustling cities, between isolation and opportunity. It carries workers to their jobs, students to their schools, and families to doctors or markets miles away. Its affordability gives it meaning far beyond its price tag. By offering a low-cost, fuel-efficient way to travel, It supports livelihoods and strengthens communities. In places where transportation costs can define the limits of one's world, the CD70 quietly expands horizons. Every liter of fuel stretches a little farther. Every repaired part saves another journey's worth of money. Of course, its fuel efficiency varies, depending on maintenance, road conditions, and how it's ridden. But even with those variables, its reputation remains unshaken. The CD70 continues to be a symbol of practicality, independence, and the simple joy of motion. For Live with Creativity, restoring a motorcycle like this isn't just about reviving an engine. It's about reviving a legacy. Each screw turned and each surface polished helps preserve something bigger than machinery. The connection between a community and a machine that has quietly shaped its daily rhythm for generations. For decades, the Honda CD70 has earned a reputation for one quality above all: exceptional mileage. Even by modern standards, its fuel efficiency remains impressive, averaging between 50 and 70 kilometers per liter under typical riding conditions. It's not just economical, it's a symbol of how thoughtful engineering can turn simplicity into performance. After weeks of meticulous restoration, the moment finally arrives. The pieces come together, frame polished, paint gleaming, and every component fitted with care. When Live with Creativity unveils the finished motorcycle, it feels less like the end of a project and more like a tribute, a salute to a design that has outlasted time and trends. The CD70 now stands proud, restored to its former glory. Its round headlamp glows softly, a hallmark of classic retro styling that recalls the motorcycles of decades past. Chrome accents shimmer along the exhaust and rearview mirrors, adding a refined elegance that perfectly complements its minimalist silhouette. Even the graphics and Honda logos have been carefully preserved. Simple, bold, and timeless. It's not flashy, and it doesn't need to be. The beauty of the CD70 lies in its humble perfection, a design that speaks to a generation that valued endurance over extravagance. Its restored form captures everything that made it beloved: reliability, charm, and the quiet pride of craftsmanship. As the camera pans around the bike, light dances across the fresh paint. The sound of the restored engine fills the air, steady, confident, alive again after years of silence. It's a small machine, but in this moment, it feels monumental. And as always, Live with Creativity leaves viewers with a message of inspiration. If you liked this video, the narrator says warmly, go visit our channel, where every forgotten classic goes from dust to lust. Tell us in the comments which vintage motorcycle you'd love to see reborn next, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible restorations. With that, the team gears up, the rider kicks the starter, and the retro beauty thunders to life, its exhaust singing the tune of victory and renewal. The CD70 rolls out of the workshop and onto the open road once more, sunlight glinting off the chrome as it disappears into the distance. And that's the end of the adventure. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to check out the previous videos, stay tuned for the upcoming ones, and if you haven't subscribed yet, join us and hit like and share. See you.